Welcome back, Safehouse family.
Hi, Safehouse family. We're back.
We are back. We just spent a week in lovely Santa Ana, California. Anaheim, California, actually.
Yeah. Went back to Cali. Cali.
Yeah, we got to see some sights. We saw the mountain ranges, some diversity in weather for California. It was kind of cool.
I know, it was kind of cool. I was really kind of surprised about that.
Yeah. We got to see some old friends in my industry, and Lana got her time to chill out and relax and decompress.
It was so good. Every couple should find some time to just decompress and to not to do nothing. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, and decompressing is mutual, right? You need time to decompress together, and we shouldn't discount that we all need individual time to decompress.
Absolutely.
So there's a way to achieve that in a fruitful way. We shouldn't be trying to fight to get away from our spouses.
That's true. Like, I need to get away from this brother.
Right. No. We don't want that, but we do want a healthy, fruitful decompression time so that you can be better together.
Yeah.
So.
And you should probably try to get that healthy decompression time before you start saying, I need to get away from his brother.
Exactly. You're fighting to get away because you haven't taken enough healthy decompression time, and now you just full. You fed up.
Yeah. But thankfully that wasn't.
I'm glad it was not the case.
That was not the case for us this time.
Not the case.
Right.
So we're still in transitions, continuing to talk about transitions, and we got a new topic this week around transitions. We alluded to it before in some of our messages. So what are we talking about in this umbrella of transitions today?
We're talking about having a strong support system. Some people will refer to it as a village, a tribe. But in order for your marriage, especially when you're going through transitions, you need a good support system. Al and Val, they really kind of talked about that in our last podcast about how during those transitions, it was their support system that helped them. So today we want to just dive a little bit deeper into some key things that we feel like would be helpful when you start talking about your support system and what you think you need.
Yeah, we also want to thank the viewers. That episode was overwhelmingly positive.
Yes.
Got a lot of great feedback, a lot of views on that episode. So thank you to all of you for partnering in with Safehouse as we go along on this thing. Thank you for supporting Al and Val. Your comments were very, very heartfelt, and I just saw a lot of people that empathized with their situation and felt energized by their situation. So that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we're not only, talking about our story, that we're bringing good stories on here that can help energize and sort of restart your engine so that there's hope when it comes to these things and that there's a path through.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about our trusted inner circle. Let's talk about this support system. It was a movie, Meet the Fockers, where he said the circle of trust.
Yes.
We're going to establish the circle of trust.
Yes. Everybody needs one of those. You really do.
So does the Bible have anything about circles of trust, or does it say anything about that?
Well, I think when you think about outside of just the scriptures, I feel like Jesus had his own circles.
He did.
Of trust.
He did.
He had the 12, but then it got smaller and it got the 3. Even if you want to take it a little, even if you want to expand a little bit, he had the 70, he had the 12, then he had the 3. So that's what we mean by circles of trust. That he trusted the 70 to go out and do what they needed them to do. With the 12, they got a little bit more information, a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more intimacy. And then with the 3, he really trusted them. So you could tell that the Bible definitely saying, hey, we can't go it alone.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we think that in marriage, a lot of, like I said, when you look at some things like on Facebook or just even other different types of social media, it's almost like, well, that's why the Bible say, when a man gets married, he leave his family, it's just him and his wife, but I don't, I think somehow I don't know if that's really what God meant, like, okay, now it's just the two of us on our own little island. And now we don't get to involve anybody else in our stuff.
Yeah, and that doesn't, jive with, don't forsake fellowshipping of the saints, right there. So God means for us to have some level of connection.
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's a healthy way to do that, and there's an unhealthy way to do that. I think the Bible also talks in certain scriptures about having areas where you seek guidance and where you seek counsel. So you have scripture for that?
Oh, I do. Yeah. So in Proverbs 11:14, it says, where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. And Proverbs 15:22 says, without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. And what I love about both of those scriptures is uses the word abundance of counselors and many advisors. So, which means that you can get your counsel and your advice from different people. If you're just kind of if we're just kind of bouncing stuff off of each other, then not to say that we won't always get it right, but it's okay now to kind of go outside of just our intimate circle of trust and kind of pull some other people in. So now that we can get advice, in different areas.
Yeah. In corporate America, they call that the echo chamber. When you're by yourself and the only thing you hear is your own voice and you don't have any other outside perspectives, points of view, opinions, things to sort of shape your opinion outside of what you've seen. There was another great preacher that said that your vision is only as broad as your view. So if you have not viewed things beyond your own sort of local existence, then you're not able to have vision beyond that local existence. So you actually have to, it's incumbent upon us in order to expand our view and our vision and our capability to take in points of view and opinions that are godly, that are aligned with the word, that are aligned with purpose, because we don't want to take everybody's point of view. But I do not believe that God has called us to be on islands unto ourselves when it comes to this walk in marriage.
Yeah.
Because there is accountability.
There is accountability, especially, like I said, when you're going through tough transitions.
Yeah.
Because when you're going through tough transitions, you really do have some hard decisions that you have to make. So, like I said, it's good to be able to have that safe place.
Yeah.
That you can go to and have conversations, and that whoever it is that you're having those conversations with, that they love you, and that they're going to, and that the advice or whatever they're going to give you, first of all, is coming from God, because they, people, like you said, people of God, one of the first things they're going to say, okay, well, we could pray about it.
Exactly.
Because that's one of the benefits of having, like I said, when we start talking about the circle of trust, like I said, if you got those three, you're going to have at least three people that's, before they even say anything to you, they're going to say, okay, we're going to pray.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you absolutely need that. Like you said, to come outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
I think it's funny because I think we're still kind of learning that. I think, like I said, because we're so accustomed to kind of like helping everybody else, that we are finding it difficult to even come out, even though we know we have a strong support system. I think where we struggle is really kind of tapping in. Yeah, and leaning
into
system.
it when we need help, right?
Or
when we need assistance, right? And it's fighting against this self-perception of, well, so many people are dependent upon us to sort of be right and act right and do right, that we don't want to discourage them with our problems, when really that's not godly, right? And actually it may be even a trick of the enemy to say, okay, you guys are being destroyed and won't get any help from anybody, so now you get to suffer in silence. And in the meanwhile, everything's being torn apart when there's resources in our network that could be very much an assistance to us. And if nothing else, they can pray for and with us while we're dealing with whatever we're dealing with.
And it's so funny that you say that, because, you're like, man, we just need clarity, God. And, but then, like you said, we're not getting clarity because we're not tapping
We're not tapping in. No, we're not sharing.
Right.
So what we'll admit here is that this is not an area of mastery for us. This is going to be something that we're going to journey with you all on. And so you'll talk about that later, but we're co-pioneers in this. So we're all going to be pioneering on how to get better in developing our system. Now, we do have a few things that we've looked up, researched, experimented with that we're going to share. But we hope that in the comments, you will share some of your experiences about building up a trusted inner circle, about building up a network, about building up a support system that could benefit us all.
Yeah.
This is not something that we've absolutely mastered. I don't think anyone has absolutely mastered it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But I believe that,
But there are some people better at it.
there are some people better at it than others. And I believe that we are all working together. I think we can help each other be better in this area.
I think so too.
So we're going to start off with some of the benefits. So what do you think are some of the benefits of a support system?
Well, I think one of the benefits is wise counsel, just what the scripture said, because all counsel isn't wise counsel.
That's true.
So you have to be able to know, to have that discernment to know, okay, am I just talking with somebody and y'all just giving me some advice? Or is this like really good counsel? I think about lawyers, what you anticipate when you're going to talk to a lawyer is that he's giving you some good counsel. He's like, when he's telling you what to do or the path that you should follow, like you said, it's based on what he knows. And so, because he's had some experience in it. So whatever counsel he's giving, then you like, okay, you feel like once you walk away from that, you can rely on it.
Yeah.
I also think fellowship.
Yeah.
The good thing about having a strong support system is you get friends, you
do.
you get to hang out, it's your peers, and so, because sometimes we just think, oh, well, we don't have no friends, but we do have friends.
You do have friends.
We just got to be better about hanging out with our friends.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is we have to make sure that we're not looking for the unicorn individual, but really build a composite of all of the various skills, competencies, attributes in our network. Many people with many different skills, many different areas of mastery in marriage and life and ministry. It doesn't have to be one individual that helps shape, our view around things. But the great thing about counsel as well, and I've found this, is that counsel can sometimes present you with a view that you just had no clue of. I didn't even, you heard the phrase, I didn't even know that was a thing, right? Yeah. or you don't know what you don't know, right? And wise counsel will be able to introduce concepts, tools, techniques, approaches, experiences that you didn't even know were available.
Yeah.
And so, once again, your vision being only as big as your view, your toolbox can be limited too if you don't know the tools that you need exist.
That's real talk.
Yeah. So while I'm trying to beat a nail into the wood with a screwdriver because that's the only tool I have, somebody out there is going to say, you know what, there's a hammer.
Yeah.
There's a hammer that you can use. We also, the other cliche that gets used, if the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem looks like a nail.
Yeah.
Meaning that if we have a limited tool set, we're going to use those same tools to solve our problems versus getting a diversity of tools from various counsel that have experienced that problem from different perspectives.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. That is true. Encouragement.
Yeah, encouragement. There are people in your network that are the best cheerleaders. They just
say we all need a cheerleader.
Yeah, they don't want to see anything more
Right.
than for you to succeed. And those are rare finds because in this world we're just sort of socialized to be competitive and to sort of look at the next guy and see what they're doing and compare it to ourselves when really God is like, hey, I gave some this, I gave some that. Everybody has a role. There's enough work out there to do for everybody. There's enough ministry for everybody. And so there's never too much ministry. There's never too much opportunity. And so there's no need to compete. But let those people that are in your life to encourage you.
I like what you said, is the cheerleaders. People want you to make it. In whatever transition you're going through, whether it's a tough transition or an easy transition, people want to see you come out of that transition well on the other side. And so, like you said, you need people like that in your life to be able to cheer you on, especially like you said, when you feel like you stuck and you stagnant, you still need somebody to be like, you know what, it's okay. You're almost there. You can make it. We got you. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear somebody say, you know what, guys, we got you.
And we got to be open to hear that we got you, right? Because if I'm a competitive person, then I think everybody's trying to compete against me. And I'm not even able to hear the encouragement.
Right.
All I'm looking at is, are they trying to one-up me or am I one-upping them? Let's shut that down for a second and be open and say, wait a minute, this person isn't trying to compete with me. They're actually trying to elevate me. They're trying to lift me up. They're trying to see me achieve. And so now I have a resource that I can lean into versus, once again, and it happens a lot to males because kind of taught from sports and whatever have you. Always be competitive, always size up your competition, always size up things. And sometimes that can be unhealthy when trying to develop a network.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
So then the other thing I think is important is there's an investment, a two-way investment component when it comes to a support system. And the way it benefits us is one, it allows this network to invest in us, but it also creates an opportunity for us to invest in others.
Yeah, so it's reciprocal.
It's reciprocal.
Yeah.
So I've told several of my mentees in the workplace, sort of in the marketplace, when you go to develop a network, the last thing you want to do is sort of go develop a network and then say, gimme, or what can you do? Now go into that network with the idea that, hey, how can I help you? How can I invest in you? How can I do things? And it pays dividends forward in terms of things coming back to you. Mm-hmm. So, it should be a two-way street, not just what you can get out of it. And some of us are just in need, so I don't want to discount that. If you're in need, don't feel ashamed.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Go get help.
But what I love about that is that, like you said, if I'm in need, okay, then that's what I'm going to take. Mm-hmm. But then now that I'm good, now I can use that from everything that I've learned now to help somebody else. It's really like the other scripture that says iron sharpens iron. It really is one of those spaces. But like I said, if I'm the one that's taking everything initially, even if I don't give back into that particular relationship, I can now pour into another relationship based on everything that I've learned.
Well, the key success to any society or any village is that there is a reciprocity between the members.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we have a village and all one family does is consume resources, eventually the resources run out.
Yeah.
Because nobody's putting resources in, right? Or if everybody, is just looking out for themselves, the ones that have less will never have less, and the ones that always get more get more.
I mean, that's just marriage, period. Yeah. Like, say, even when you first get together and you're trying to figure out how to become one, there has to be that it's a reciprocal relationship because everybody's bringing something different to the table. So you're just trying to figure out, okay, how do we combine that? Which kind of leads us into our next one about a support system starter kit. Identifying your needs. What does our relationship need? What type of support does our relationship need? And that's a conversation because once again, what I think we might need, you may not think we need. And so you do have to have that type of conversation when you start really thinking about, okay, we need a support system, but why do we need one?
Mm-hmm. You do. Well, all the couples that are listening to this right now, you need something.
Yeah,
so don't convince yourself that you don't need any. You need something. And so it's always going to come to, what are those needs? It may be, hey, we're about to go into ministry together. Is there a couple out there that has conquered that or dealt with that? And what does that look like?
Yeah.
Hey, we're about to purchase our first piece of property. Is there a couple out there that can walk us through that process or, give us the pitfalls of that process? I'm about to change jobs.
Yeah.
We're about to change locations. We're about to move to another city.
We're about to have a baby.
We're about to have a baby. It's not always the controversial issues, right? Because there are those, hey, we walked through adultery and we stayed together.
Yeah.
How does that look like? We've walked through utter poverty and sort of rose back up. There's those situations
too.
We've
walked through, living with in-laws. We've walked through, in-laws passing away. So we've seen all of that. How did you guys do that? We've had people ask us that question all the time. How did you guys live with both of your moms?
Yeah, and our situation was unique in a sense that don't think we didn't have mom-in-law issues, right? But it just didn't affect us to the point where it impacted our marriage. Our marriage was kind of designed with that built in. Yeah,
it was.
Which was very unique in terms of keeping a home for both my mom and your mom. And we were both, blessed to see them go home to be with the Lord. But once again, the whole design was they would be with us.
Yeah.
And we've heard a lot of people like, oh, I'd never live with my mother-in-law. I'd never live. And what's going on? How would you do that? And, for every controversy, it was a blessing, right? For every complication, it was a blessing,
So an absolute blessing.
Knowing that our kids had those direct relationships with their grandparents and that they were able to pour their wisdom into them. And now our kids have memories of their grandparents, right? That are very intimate memories. So, it had its benefits. So, but once again, getting back to the topic, it's really, what are those needs? Inventory and take an inventory of those needs, babe. What are we planning on doing? How do we even create a plan? I don't even know how to create a plan. How do we stick to a plan?
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to be grandiose, right? Yeah. It could be very simple, but really looking at those needs. And then we're going to go over into, let's inventory what's in our network.
Right. Who do we know now?
Yeah. And there are various capabilities, skills, competencies within the people you know. Mm-hmm. You may or may not have asked them about it. You may or may not discuss them with them. But they're capabilities that they have. And once again, going back to the first point about not looking for the unicorn individual, but building a composite, mm-hmm. It may be one or two capabilities that you could pull from this couple. One or two capabilities you can pull from this couple. One of our influences is Dr. Deanna James. She's been a very big influence on our lives. Yeah. And she recently, within the last 5 years or so, walked through the process of her husband passing away. And it was a very loving demonstration of what it looks like to be the one to usher your spouse into the next life.
And they had been married. They were almost close to their 50th.
I believe they were, close to 50 years of marriage.
Yeah.
And to say at close to 50 years, they were in love like teenagers, right?
Yeah.
They really, loved each other and they desired to be around each other and they wanted to do nothing more than to please each other, even, at an advanced age. So now for us, not only is she a spiritual guide and mentor for just hearing from God, and but also she, gives us the straight deal on what it's like.
Yeah. She doesn't hold back.
She doesn't hold back
at all.
And now we don't know if either of us will go through that situation or, what that will be like, but we have lessons that we can lean into.
We know it's not easy.
Yeah.
That's the one thing we do know. She's definitely very clear about it. It's not an easy process to go through.
Yeah. So then seeking out areas of mastery. So this is an interesting one because I don't want folks to take it the wrong way that you're only looking for absolute masters. What I mean by areas of mastery is that there are couples, people in your support system that have figured out a certain topic or along their figuring it out path, they have been more advanced mm-hmm. than some, right? They're a little bit more advanced than others. So those are the individuals that you want to look to say, wow, this particular couple has figured out how to negotiate and purchase vehicles. Yeah. They get low interest rates, they get good terms, they get a lot of perks and a lot of extras. Let's lean into them for that skill. Mm-hmm. They've got demonstrated capability, or you may find that there's a couple, it's like, wow, this couple has really figured out the discipline of daily joint prayer. They pray together, without thinking about it. It's air, it's necessary, it's in their lives. How do we lean into them to learn how that became a discipline? Mm-hmm. And so we can incorporate those things in our lives.
Or you just have some couples that just straight know how to have fun.
Yeah.
Every time you look around, man, how are they always going someplace? Every time we look up, they trying a new restaurant. They doing these little staycations. They doing all of this. How do they have time to do this? And they have kids and they got this other stuff going on. But what they've mastered is making sure that each other is first. That they make sure that they make time for each other. I mean, to be able to get close to that kind of a couple and to really be able to have that kind of conversation and be like, how do you guys do that?
Yeah. How do you make it happen? How do you manage your budget around that, right? Because it's making it happen. And then there's also being a steward.
Absolutely.
So how do we do that without going into debt? And how do we do that? All of those things. But once again, there's folks that have figured that out mm-hmm. and how to do that and whether we pay for things in advance and over time or, we know how to find discount vacations and off seasons or whatever. They just know the cheat code.
They do. We're still figuring out the cheat code.
They know the cheat code. and so, you want to surround yourself with these people that have these areas of mastery so that they can be influences on how you lead your
Are we
direction.
masters at anything? Every time I think that. I was thinking about He-Man.
I'm
sorry.
I have the power.
I don't know. This is what this man has to deal with. I say all the time, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad you still want to be married to me. I'm sorry, I took us totally off.
That's fine. She was testing out her superpowers when we were in California. You know, I heard all kinds of noises.
He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "You know I'm a superhero. You
so
should not be surprised."
You know, making sure all her superpowers work. That's what we do. We're masters of goofiness. That's what we are.
That is true.
No. I think we have a quirkiness about us that's kind of unique. You know, whether it's the kid Yoda that's in the background. We both love Star Wars. Yes. You know, I think we have a nerdy quirkiness about ourselves that has us mastered. I think we're students of it, but if I were to look at the path in terms of our communication, we don't have the same communication issues that we had when we first got married. And it's not because we are ignoring it or choosing to not have the engagement, right? We've learned how to communicate and have conflict healthier.
Yeah. And that's how you become a master of it.
Yeah.
You know, because you becoming a master of anything, you have to work through it. You know, you do. It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy, but you know, it's funny because now we can laugh about things that used to be too embarrassing to talk about. Yeah, it's just funny. You know, we're not even going to talk about the old folk stuff that happened in the bedroom. That's just awkward and goofy. That now it's just
now we just be like,
we just like, oh,
that didn't work.
Oh, well, that didn't work. Yeah, got a cramp there. It's like, So we're gonna keep this PG.
That's what we mastered. We mastered laughing and being silly. And really communicating through all of that.
So here's one we don't want you all to miss, and that's do not discount those non-obvious. So now we just talked about mastery. There are people in your network that it's not necessarily obvious. And what I mean by that is they may not necessarily have mastery of a particular skill or competency, but they absolutely, utterly love you. They are invested in you. They are connected to you, and they would rather not do anything. They'd rather just see you be successful. They are invested in you being greater. And so what you don't want to do is discount those people that are connected to you because they may not have mastery, or you may not perceive what they have mastery in. Mm-hmm. Maybe they have mastery in exhorting other couples.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
And so we believe in covenants, and we believe God makes covenants between people for purposes. And so what you don't want to do is prematurely disconnect any covenants that God is creating, because you never know what purpose those people may serve in your future. Mm-hmm. So there are people, and you know it because you're divinely connected. No matter what, you can't be drawn apart. Time and space may separate you, but it doesn't break the connection. Yeah. And no matter what, you're always on each other's minds, even when the phone calls don't match.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
Even when the phone calls are not always reciprocal, each of you holds a place in the other's heart. So just make sure because they're important to your network. And then sort of our last part of the starter kit is you're going to run into joint pioneers. And this is where it's fun. And this is what we ask of you today. Mm-hmm. There are things that we don't have particular mastery of, and maybe none of us in the network have particularly mastery of, but we're all committed to getting better in this particular area. Mm-hmm. More of us is better than one of us. And so if we're all committed, then we can all research, we can all try, we can all experiment, we can share the failures, we can share the successes. Hey, we tried this, it did not work. Mm-hmm. We tried this worked. And we can all benefit from that. So just those joint pioneers, I think, are a great sort of work intimacy and creative opportunity for people to work together to get better on a topic. Yeah.
Because like I said, we're joint pioneering on a couple of things ourselves. So like I said, I don't have to be a master of it. Mm-hmm. And to be able to honestly say, hey, you know what, we're still working through this. So like I said, even for us, like I said, we're still working through this whole process of figuring out how to make sure that we're taking full advantage of our support system.
Yes.
Because we definitely don't, mm-hmm. but we are once again, learning how to do that. And so I'm thinking that maybe what we could do at this point is I'd like to cut talking right now, and then maybe we could talk the next time about support system tools.
She made an audible on me.
I did. I like pulled an audible. Hopefully he's going with me on this one.
All right.
Yeah, because I feel like we've talked a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that for our next one, and plus it'll be a way for people to still kind of come back, is for us to continue the conversation. But then for our next episode, we'll talk about the support system tools and the successes of it.
Yeah.
And so that way, I feel like this is a 2-part
It is.
episode.
It's part 2 of a 20-part.
Right.
part 20.2. No. I agree. And this is rich content.
It is rich content.
It's very rich content because we're exploring ourselves.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. In spirit.
Yay.
We're gonna stop right there. We're gonna stop right there.
I've never thrown an audible before. So this was new.
They say in the business world sometimes you have to pivot and other times you have to swivel, right?
Yeah.
And so we just swiveled, right? So here she go. There go the face.
I can't help it.
Nasty woman.
When you say swivel, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It's so cool. So like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. When we come back to you next time, we're going to talk about the tools and the keys.
Yes.
So the tools that you need to build this support system, and then the keys to success. You can't really, you can only manage what you can measure.
Absolutely.
So if we don't have keys to success, how do we know if what we're doing is having any effect?
Yes.
So this is the key. These are the keys that'll help you just, really evaluate, okay, here's the behavior I have to make sure this takes root. Mm-hmm. And here's the things I have to watch out for to make sure I don't derail this process. And then here's the benefits, we can potentially look forward to.
And like I said, when you guys look at this video, like I said, if you have any questions or, you have some ideas, please put them in the comments. So that way we can even talk about it in, possibly in the next episode. But we're gonna, like I said, this is definitely a rich topic, so we want to be able to make sure that we can hit, all of the points in the way that we believe God wants us to do it.
All right. Well, that being said, that's it. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
We look forward to you coming back and getting more on part 2. Remember, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell so you can get notified. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. You can follow us there. Give us comments, follow up with us. We need it. We need
We absolutely do.
so that we can make this better. And with that, we're going to say peace.
We love you guys.
Love you.